What is something that has aged well? The word cool. Denim in general. Lego. Even music I hated when it was new now sounds good because of nostalgia. Old Nintendo games. The speedrun community alone speaks for this. It's crazy how much hype there still is for 20 to 30-year-old single-player games. Also, just because I've gotten a bunch of replies about this, I'm using single-player games as an example I have observed. I don't personally play old multiplayer games as much, but I have noticed that there is a huge community for the single-player games lol. I'm not in any way saying they're more popular than multiplayer games. I'm aware that old multiplayer games, even non-Nintendo, StarCraft, etc., are still huge. My 84-year-old mother who still walks 3 miles a day and has all her wits about her. Tetris. Still addictive. I sometimes get hallucinations of falling pieces after playing. 2019. The earlier episodes of The Simpsons. The Twilight Zone. The series premiered in 1959 and so many of the episodes still hold up today because of its brilliant writing. Jurassic Park. I still think the visuals look great in that movie, even if it were to be released today. Incredibly, some very old photography. Sure they might be now in digital and WE, but the composition, attention to detail, there's just so much. Example this alcohol pouring during Prohibition, https://static.boardpanda.com blog will contain 2 uploads must see black and white historic moments must see black and white historic moments 33.jpg. Aliens 1986. Paul Rudd. Calvin Hobbes. Arabic numerals, or what most people call numbers. Since around 500 AD, it's been 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. And the entire world uses them. Even cultures without the Latin alphabet use them. Always interesting seeing them used in Asian languages writing, as they stand out seeming Western but they were in fact developed in Asia by Hindu mathematicians and spread throughout Middle East where they became popular, hence Arabic numerals. Edit, I get it, Arabs don't use this numeral system, what a misnomer, am I right, and an Indian mathematician Aryabhatta developed the concept of zero. This is why I included developed in Asia by Hindu mathematicians. Megamind. The villain being a nice guy until was absolutely ahead of its time, and I think now that we are farther away from Will Ferrell we can appreciate his role more now that it's not something oversaturated. The animation still looks amazing, and the music selection feels very reminiscent of both Shrek and Guardians of the Galaxy. The comedy doesn't feel dated at all, and very timeless. You could watch multiple times and learn something new every time, as I have. A lot. It's starting to get a lot more love now, which is great because now I can talk about it with other people and not look batshit crazy. Seasons 1 to 3 of SpongeBob. Classics to this day. Roger Federer, still a top 10 player at 38. Astronomer here. There is a star about 200 light-years away from us called the Methuselah star https://n.wikipedia.org wiki 1402883 which appears to be about as old as the universe itself. Specifically, the universe is thought to be about 13.8 billion years old, and the star is, based on its composition, estimated to be 14.46 plus 0.8 billion years old. So presumably if you were on the side of that minus, it's younger than the age of the universe, but still, the fact that it's been shining for a good 13 plus billion years is astounding. For reference, our sun has been burning for about 4.5 billion years, and has about 5 billion more to go. So this star has already lasted longer than our sun ever will. 90s Japanese cars. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Anything scored by John Williams. He makes scenes feel so alive and meaningful. Edit. Thank you for my first award. Alexa, play Duel of the Fates. Weird Al. Celebrity after celebrity comes out with drug problems, abuse allegations, friends with Weinstein, and there's Weird Al, singing a coronavirus polka. Lord of the Rings trilogy. Still great. Also I enjoy the Rankin Bass version of The Hobbit. Betty White. Art Nouveau. From the architecture, the jewelry, to the fashion. I find it all incredibly aesthetic. Batman, the animated series. I find that a few classic rock bands are still very popular with young people today. Bands such as the Beatles, Queen, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, AC/DC, Metallica, Guns N' Roses and Nirvana especially are the most popular amongst my peers. Definitely rickrolling. https://res.cloudinary.com T-Publish image per Vates 4 Tux 7 TD2 crop, X10, Y10 kfit, H1273 crop, Northwest, H1260, W1260, X6, Y6 Corgf, Ecolorize, Umask 1% 20 pixel percent 20 grayscale, Northwest, H1260, W1260 Flare Apply, Northwest, X0, Y0 Bow 0 Solid White Sized percent 20 Artwork Fit, Northwest, H1054, W1054 Cough, Outline 53 Cough, Outline Interfill 53 Cub, Outline 3 1000 Pad, Center, H1260, W1260 BRGB Climate, FJPG, H630, Q90, W630 V15746460888 Production Designs 6877529.jpg. It has been a thing for about a decade and is one of the most popular memes and ways to troll on the internet. Steve Carell, that man has aged like a fine wine. The first two Home Alone movies. They are still hilarious and very fun to watch after all these years. Anyone I know has watched them at least 2 to 3 times. Band of Brothers. The Princess Bride. 12 Angry Men. It's over 60 years old and still a very great and compelling movie to watch in 2020. Heath Ledger as Joker. The First Men in Black. A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. Terminator 2. Anytime I watch this movie, I think I am even more impressed with the practical and VFX they were able to pull off seamlessly, in 1991. Keanu. Shawshank Redemption. I started playing Skyrim the other day again for the first time in years. Man, that game is just so great. I played, or tried to play, Fallout 4 again recently and Skyrim just holds up so well compared to that. My character in Fallout 4 never really felt like mine honestly, it felt like I had no control over her story or her personality. You feel like much more of a blank slate in Skyrim and I love that. Bubble Wrap, D. Pop. 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 Pop, 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 pop. Hope this made you smile. Me. Josie and the Pussycats. For a stupid teen movie from 2001, it actually holds up really well and stands out in contrast to a lot of other similar films from that time. Didn't get the love it really deserved at the time, but in comparison it's definitely outlived most alternatives of the genre. Also, the songs in it are actually not terrible, although they're pretty difficult to find for download stream, unfortunately. Spider-Man 2. The GameCube. Seriously, play some old games. AE Kirby Air Ride is still a blast and looks fairly good even nowadays. Lord of the Rings. The practical effects in the original Jurassic Park movie. Dang, those raptors still look great. Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon has both timeless lyrical themes and beautiful production. Also, it has one of the most iconic album covers of all time. Eminem. The movie The Princess Bride. Obama's presidency. Winona Ryder. A lot of people talking about Jurassic Park and other classic movies. So I wanted to bring up Jaws. Watched it recently and I find it super impressive. I wish Hollywood nowadays would spend more money on animatronics, puppets, makeup design, etc. instead of spending it all on CGI. LeBron James. Vaccinated children. Barack Obama. Like his politics or not, he doesn't look half bad. My concern for the coronavirus. I was called a germaphobe and a moron for wearing gloves and a mask at work when I began wearing them at the beginning of January and the news broke out. I eventually stopped wearing a mask once I found out about the shortages health workers were having, but never stopped wearing gloves. I was teased and made fun of by my coworkers, family, friends and customers. Last night, my place of employment shut down and the mayor in my town has ordered almost all businesses to close their doors. It's not a good thing to brag about, I know, but my point is that we should have been more serious about this from the start.